What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Corey, and if you like Florida State Seminole or Jacksonville Jaguar football, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below. It really helps the channel out. Today, we are celebrating our first win of the year for the Jacksonville Jaguars. We are now 1-4.
We won.
All right, hey. All right, good job, guys. Let's just not come in tomorrow. Let's just take a day.
Now, we've got a long way to go to try and get back to 500, but hey, it's a start. We beat the Indianapolis Colts today, 37-34, and it was a hell of a game. I will say that. Joe Flacco tried to make a pretty epic comeback at the end of that. And Joe Flacco is not a quarterback to sleep on, man. That guy's got a Super Bowl ring. That guy has, spent a lot of time in Baltimore. He was kind of the franchise quarterback there for a while. So Joe Flacco is not somebody to, gawk at when he comes in the game and they go, oh, well, he's not the young, guy that's going to run around on you. That's okay. We see that with Kirk Cousins right now. Kirk Cousins is balling out. And so Joe Flacco might go out and win some games for Indianapolis. Even though he's a little older, man, he knows what he's doing. He's been around the block. He's comfortable. He's got good vision. Like, it's tough to beat him. And I thought Trevor Lawrence played great today. He had a career day. So same with Tank Bigsby. I was waiting for Tank Bigsby to just go off. He was about due. He's always kind of showed the flashes of what he can do in these games, but I know he hadn't really got the opportunities because we kind of leaned towards Travis Etienne. But today, Tank Bigsby went off, I think 101 yards, 2 touchdowns, just epic performance by him, especially as a second-year player. But yeah, there's also still some glaring holes, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But first, let's talk about what happened that was good. The Jaguars finally hit the big plays that they needed to hit. That was really nice to see because I was starting to lose faith that Trevor Lawrence just had a mental block and he wasn't going to get past it. Like, he was just constantly off the game when he's throwing these big passes, when he's trying to make, simple plays just to build up a little momentum and get the first downs, roll in, get some third down conversions. It didn't seem like Trevor was in the game a lot of times. And even at the beginning of this game, there was a couple heated exchanges. Apparently, we didn't get any footage of it, but between him and Gabe Davis, and I'm speculating here, but I want to say there was actually a third down where he tried to squeeze it into Brian Thomas Jr. I believe this was the first drive of the game, and we didn't convert, ended up having to punt. But if you look down at the bottom of the screen when you're watching that, Gabe Davis has a 10, 15-yard cushion on the guy that's going out. Now, as he runs out, he goes a little bit farther than the first down, so you could tell his route was out there, but he's probably looking at it like, dog, I got a little bit of room. So, go through your reads, settle down a little bit, and don't just try to squeeze it in tight windows. That's stupid. That's why we keep losing, things like that, those kind of decisions. So I don't know if that really did help Trevor actually motivate to start looking and seeing his reads a little bit better in this game, because you need people to push you a little bit. Like, sometimes you need people to call you out on your BS, and Trevor's an awesome player, but he just makes some bad decisions lately, and now you see a game like this, it seems like he's starting to turn it around. Something's starting to click. And yeah, I think there was a lot more cohesion with the team today. Travis Etienne, Tank Bigsby, they were a great tandem running duo. Travis Etienne, a little bit more gadget, screen passes out of the backfield, a lot of different plays with him, kind of getting some space and actually getting out there and getting a little bit of yardage. Tank Bigsby with just the power running, he made the cuts that he needed to make when the holes opened up. Went right through him, accelerated. He just looked great the last few games. Brian Thomas Jr., career day for him as well. He's only been in the league for a few games, and, he is starting to show Rookie of the Year potential. Now, he's got some other rookies out there that are balling out like Jaden Daniels, but when it comes to wide receivers, I got to say Brian Thomas Jr. is probably the best rookie wide receiver in the game right now. I actually have my money on Keon Coleman, and Keon Coleman looks pretty good up in Buffalo too, but Brian Thomas Jr. is coming in right now and doing his thing. He might be the best receiver we got right now, and he's a rookie. He's only going to get better. So he definitely took over that Calvin Ridley spot in a better way than I could have expected. So I'm happy about that. Christian Kirk had a couple big plays. That was nice to see. Gabe Davis got a couple catches. He did get a little bit of momentum. Nothing crazy. Brendan Strange with a touchdown grab. Man, Brendan Strange is really, really pulling his weight right now while Evan Ingram is out. I've been really proud of that kid. He is making some tough catches. The catch he made for a touchdown today was impressive. I will say that. It was impressive. He could have easily went right through his hands, but he grabbed that ball, came down inbounds, and I was like, man, Brenton, that's a play, boy. I'm proud of you for that one. So, yeah, the Jags are looking good on offense right now. If Trevor can keep this momentum going and have people believe that they can make the right plays at the right time, get the conversions that they need, and go out and win some football games, man, that's going to speak volumes. And on the defensive side, we'll talk more about the defense because the defense also is what scares me right now. But they made some good plays too. Finally got a turnover. We did get a strip sack. Now, the strip sack was probably the thing that saved us in the game. Because, when you come down and win on a last-second field goal or walk-off field goal, you got to think back to why that field goal was important. Like, that's one way I like to look at it. And you go back to right before halftime, Trevor throws the pick. Suddenly we're, on defense. Next play, they get a strip sack, get the ball back, and we can go down and kick that field goal. That field goal ended up being the difference because at the end of the game, when you're tied up, that field goal was exactly what kept you tied. Now that you have a chance to go out and win the game with a field goal, that field goal is really important. You're not trying to go get 6 points to tie up the game and just score a touchdown to win. So that was pretty big that we got that turnover. It actually led to, in my opinion, what changed the game right there because we still got points before half. And yeah, you got to look at the culmination of the whole game sometimes. Like when you're analyzing these things, whether you're a fan or an actual professional that's looking at this, we all put time in. We all watch for different things. We all have different ways of analyzing the game. For me, it's as a whole, right? You got to look at every decision, every play, every penalty, why these things are working, why they didn't, and it's a trickle down for me. It's a domino effect. A penalty at a bad point in time can lead to somebody losing a game, and I know people don't want to say that. They go, no, you can't. If you look back at Miami Cal over the weekend, that, in my opinion, was the epitome of that example, right? There was a targeting call that they didn't call at the end of the game. Miami was down about a touchdown, about 6 points. Cal, with that penalty, would have been close to field goal range. There's about 3 or 4 minutes left in the game. If Cal gets that penalty, they go down, possibly kick a field goal to go up by 9 on Miami. That probably would have changed the game, that single penalty. Now people go, no, Miami was coming back. I get it. Whatever your agenda is too, I get it. I'm just giving you my perspective that something like that can change a game because then Miami got the ball back after that, went down, scored, and won the game. So, you keep it in a 6-point game instead of a 9-point game. That's a big, big difference if one penalty can do that, okay? So for us, having that one turnover was big. It was a big piece of the game right there, even though it seemed like it was small in the scheme of things because you played a whole nother half of football after that. It really did change the perspective of the game for me. Now to get to some of the negatives, I want to say, Ryan Nielsen, man, you got to figure out your defense. Joe Flacco, don't get me wrong, he wasn't getting, a lot at the beginning of the game. Even in the third quarter, he didn't have much. But at the end of the game, when you guys are ahead and you guys have a big lead, and it was like one of those things where Jaguars fans, man, we're watching it and we're like, it's like you guys are trying to give this game away. It's like every time we get our hopes up, we're sitting there looking at it like there's no way we lose this game. Suddenly we're tied with like 2 minutes left in the game, and I'm shaking my head like, bro, there is no way you guys are letting this happen right now. And one thing I was proud about from a perspective of a fan is they kept showing Ryan Nielsen on the screen as if to say, it's this guy's fault. This guy is calling bad defenses in these moments because Flacco is throwing one-play drive, Hail Mary touchdowns, and it's this guy's fault, which I thought was pretty awesome because at the same time you're looking at that going, that's the guy you got to blame. Like, it's not really the DBs, it's not really everybody else. Like, he's calling prevent defenses, trying to keep stuff in front of him, but he's not giving them insight to these ideals of, Flacco might have a guy sneak by you. They might do some crossing routes, some zigzag routes that are actually going to get by and make you think as you're figuring out I believe they were still in zone defense, as you're figuring out your zone, or even if you're playing man-to-man, like sometimes you just got to man up and play. But you got to have a little bit of a cushion. You got to have something that's going to be there for a safety net just in case that one person gets burnt or something like that. And Ryan Nielsen did not call those defenses. So that was one thing that scares me, is that even though we won this game, we tried really hard to lose it because of our defense. So I'd like to see and I know we got a lot of injured players out there, but the defensive line looks good. Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker had good days today. They ran around and did their thing, got the strip sack, the fumble recovery, stuff like that. But the secondary, our linebackers, our safety core, they got to go out and do some plays. They got to go out and work a little harder in practice. I know we have injuries, but they got to step up. They're on the field right now. Those are the guys that need to fill these positions. You look at Brenton Strange. He's a good example of it. He didn't think he was coming in. Evan Ingram was our tight end. Like, he was our guy. I mean, Brenton Strange might come in, but he might do a lot more blocking. But that kid right now is pushing every piece of his opportunity to the next level because he wants to produce and help this team win, and that's what speaks volumes to us as fans. So, some of the guys out there like Andre Sisco is still playing pretty well. It's just in those big moments, man, you got to step up. Darnell Savage, you got to step up. Some of these guys, you got to really, really step up in these big moments and not let the game suddenly get back to level when you're playing somebody like Joe Flacco, because he'll beat you. Like, Flacco's done it before. I remember watching him with the Hail Mary back when he was in Baltimore during the playoffs, man. That dude knows what he's doing when he comes down to those plays. He tries to win the game, you know. So for me, the defense looked a little sketchy. But, you know, I think in the overall sense of the team, there's a good aspect of looking at it like this is the idea, right? You've got the throwback jerseys. You've got Trevor's birthday. You've got a team that's coming back from a loss. Everybody believes we can win this game because, you know, the Colts haven't beat us in Jacksonville in 10 years. There's a lot of swag to the team when we're playing like that, right? First off, I think the throwback jerseys, that's already a big confidence builder. You got some cool jerseys. You feel fashionable. You feel good on the field. Like, that's step one. Step two, you got to feel confident in yourself and all the players around you. You got to feel like these guys are all going to make a couple mistakes. That's fine, but they're going to make big plays too. Give them an opportunity to make the big plays. Don't worry and think about too much the small plays or the mistakes you're going to make. You got to get that out of your head. You got to play loose, got to play free, and that's a trickle down. Like, if you feel good, you play good. That's kind of the idea, right? So start with the uniforms. We got to get better uniforms first off. I think we should get something a lot better than our black and white and stuff like that, because it's just kind of lame color schemes. They just don't look cool or intimidating. You got to get out there with some swag first off, and have some pride. Like, to be honest, like Tom Coughlin getting inducted into the pride was big, because I think everybody sees that and thinks, man, Tom Coughlin was a good coach. It's a big day for the Jaguars. We need to go out there and represent. And that needs to be the culture. That needs to be the culture of this team, is to go out and represent the Jacksonville fucking Jaguars. Like, we need to get out there and feel, you know, something in our chest when we get out there and puff it up and toughen up and go, yo, like, this is our team. This is our city. You guys don't come in here and win. Like, that's what happens. In fact, we're going to go to your city and win, just for in the name of Jacksonville. Like, that's the kind of issue you got to go out there and do when you're playing in football. So I felt like we actually had that swag today. And I think that goes a long way. I think the uniforms, everything, they just felt fresh. You know, I think everybody, that confidence starts to build when you're getting compliments all around from all kinds of different aspects. Like, that's a team aspect. So, and then same thing. Trevor got out there and actually hit his plays. Everyone made their catches. Like, it's uplifting to see that everybody is helping each other get to that next level today, and they finally, you know, pulled out a win. And again, even though they tried to lose it at the end of the game, it was a good game. I mean, it was way more high scoring than I thought it was going to be. I mean, 37 points, that's like as much as we scored in 3 games at the beginning of the year. You know, it's like that's awesome that we got that kind of a score. And, you know, even though the Colts had 34 points too, the Colts aren't somebody that has the same problem we have right now. Like, we were on, you know, a 9 out of 10 losing streak for Trevor or whatever. It's things like that are absurd. You start to hear those numbers and see those statistics, and it's hard to get by them. So, speaking of statistics, let's go ahead and look at a little bit of what we got. Now, I will say the Colts outplayed us in some aspects, but for the most part, we did a little bit better, and it was pretty damn even, but I think we did a little bit better. When it comes down to yardage, 447 for the Colts, 497 for the Jaguars total yards. We almost broke 500 yards. Pretty happy about that. That's pretty awesome. Passing yards, 348 for the Colts, 371 for the Jags. Trevor balling out right there. Rushing yards, 99 rushing yards. Colts basically 100 rushing yards. 125 for the Jags. Pretty even there. We got a little extra probably because of those 2 big tank runs. That really helped. Yards per play, 6.5 for the Colts, 8.7 for the Jaguars. That's big. When you get 8 yards per play, that's big. You can't miss first downs that way. So that's huge. And now this is some of the anomalies for me where the Colts started to look a little bit better in statistical values. First downs, they had 25 to our 20. Third downs, they were 7 of 14. We were only 3 of 10. Now, we definitely got to work on third downs. That is something that's not working for us. We got to do better than 3 of 10. Now, we hadn't had that many third downs, luckily. So, you know, if we can just throw a bomb every time we get the ball in one play, don't need third down conversions. So, you know, let's figure that out. 1 for 1 for the Colts on fourth down. 1 for 2 for us. So, you know, pretty even there, but, you know, we had 2 tries and only got 1. So, you know, the Colts had 69 total plays. Nice. We had 57. So they still ran about 12 extra plays on us. Now, that's probably because they got more first downs and third down conversions. They were able to put more plays on the field. So that happens. They had 4 sacks compared to, we didn't allow any sacks. That was pretty nice. They had 4 punts. We only had 2 punts. So we did get them there. They had 5 penalties to our 3. Low penalty game. Not too bad. Both teams had a fumble lost. We threw an interception. That was just the one bad throw by Trevor. And then time of possession, 31 for the Colts, 28 for us. Pretty even, but I will say the Colts outplayed us in some aspects. So I think we got to start taking the reins and start grabbing some of that back and going back to our side of the field and going, yo, we're going to own this. We need to have probably 35 to 40 minutes of possession a game if we want to win these games. We need to make sure that we are going out and getting our third down conversions and probably beat them in total plays if possible. We can't rely on big plays constantly. We need to be able to execute the small things and chip away at it to get the big plays open, It's kind of an important side. So let's go ahead and player stats real quick. If we're looking at the Colts first, let's go ahead and start there. Joe Flacco, 33 of 44. It's pretty nice. 3 touchdowns. He actually threw more touchdowns than Trevor, but still. And 359 total yards passing. Insane. And then you got rushing, Trey Sermon. He only had about 38 yards on 10 rushes. Goodson, 5 for 26 yards. Joe Flacco actually had 3 rushes for 22 yards. At his age, that's impressive. That's definitely, again, we gotta be able to hold people like that, man. We can't let somebody like Joe Flacco go run for 20 yards. Now, receiving, Alex Pierce, dude, 3 catches for 134 yards. That's ridiculous. 44.7 yards average. Literally did nothing till the last 5 minutes of the game, man. Y'all got to not let up on that. But Josh Downs, 9 catches for 69 yards. Nice. 7.7 yards average. Good. A.D. Mitchell, 4 catches, 38 yards. Not too bad. Michael Pittman Jr., 5 catches, 37 yards. Mo Alley Cox had 2 for 37. So, yeah, I mean, we did pretty good there. We held a lot of those guys under 10 yards a catch. They had 3 players that had 10 yards on average. But a couple of those players only had 2 or 3 catches. So that's pretty big for that. It's just Pierce going for the touchdown was big. That's where we cannot let stuff like that happen. And we got to be able to do a little bit better on that side, but that's okay. We won the game. That's where I'm like, it's in the past now. We won the game. That's the first step. Now, if we look at Trevor Lawrence, 28 of 34, 371, 2 touchdowns and an interception. Fantastic day. That's like borderline 80% completion. That's unheard of. That's ridiculous. It's got to be a near perfect passer rating. The interception hurts, but that's okay. Trevor with a career day. So we'll see if he can roll that into, going to London, because now he gets to go to London and play Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is going to go crazy. I mean, he's not a good quarterback at all, but he is an athletic quarterback. He will run around all day and try to make plays. So, if our defense can step up and hold him, maybe we'll be able to, stick with him. But I'm not worried about playing the Bears, but it's one of those things where the Bears are a decent team right now. They have a couple more wins, and they don't look terrible. It's just that their defense is really, really stepping up right now, and they have a lot of players making plays. DJ Moore is making plays. Caleb Williams is making plays when he can. Anyways, not a good rushing. Tank Bigsby, 13 rushes, 101 yards, pretty nice. 7 yards a rush, almost 8 yards a rush. Pretty darn good with 2 touchdowns. Big man stuff today. Travis Etienne, 6 rushes for 17 yards, and he had a few gadget plays. He had a few catches for 6 catches for 43 yards. So Travis Etienne was doing work today. Very happy with that. Now, if we're looking down at Brian Thomas Jr., 5 reception, 122 yards. Pretty big. Had a touchdown, 24.4 yard average on those catches. Big stuff. Brian Thomas Jr. is quick too, man. You get him out and you hit him in stride. People might not catch that kid. Like, he's pretty tough. Christian Kirk, 4 catches for 88 yards. Big man stuff today. Travis Etienne, we talked about. Gabe Davis, 3 catches for 38 yards. Big man stuff again. Take Bigsby, 1 catch for 28 yards. Now, this is where I talk about this all the time on mine. That is 4 separate receivers over 10 yards a play, basically. 3 of them over 20 yards a play per catch. That's what we need statistically. We need things like that where we're getting big chunks yardage to even out those average and make these plays bigger. You look at it with what happened with the Texans last week. Nico Collins, man, he was going off. 150 yards, it was ridiculous. It's just something where you're like, man, you gotta either stop him from doing that or you gotta match that kind of energy. It's one or the other. So, I gotta say we did pretty good. Oh, and Brenton Strange, 4 catches, 24 yards, and he had the touchdown. So, there were some other players in there with some catches, nothing major, just a few different things, but. I thought we did really well today. I was proud of the Jags, and we'll see if we can roll this momentum into London because we got 2 London games. I love the 9:30 kickoffs, man. Waking up, literally making breakfast and watching Jaguar football immediately. It's nothing better than that. So I love that we play in London twice. We'll see if we can hold Caleb Williams and the Bears. I think that's going to be the next test. It's a good test. It's not like we're going off and playing a decent powerhouse something. We're playing a team that's also trying to figure out their identity right now. Even though they've got a couple wins, a couple of them are lucky wins because they played worse teams than them. So, let's see what we can do with this. See if we can go and take Caleb Williams and the Bears down, roll into 2-4, and then, realistically, the door is still open. I don't know if we're hitting the playoffs or anything. I'm not even going to worry about that right now. I would like to just get us to 500. If we can get to 4-4, we're not looking bad, put it that way. There's a lot of teams out there right now that look 10 times better that I didn't expect. But we still have more than half the season left. I mean, 4 losses isn't that bad if you can go on an 8-game winning streak. I don't think we can do that, but at the same time, it's a start, so I'm going to be positive. Like I said, if you guys can, please hit the subscribe button down below. And yeah, we'll talk about some more Jaguars. Hopefully on Sunday I'll have a video out since the game is early enough. I'll get a video out on Sunday because normally when the games are over a little later, I got stuff to do Sunday night. I got work on Monday, so like this video is probably not coming out till Tuesday, but hey, I do what I can. I'm trying, so appreciate y'all stopping by. Have a good evening, and yeah, peace out.